Have you ever found yourself in a conversation that's going great, only to suddenly hit a wall? The silence feels deafening, and you're left scrambling for something to say. We've all been there, and let's be honest, it's uncomfortable. But what if I told you there's a way to never run out of things to say, even in the most awkward moments? In this video, I'm going to share the exact strategies that help me overcome those moments of silence and keep conversations flowing effortlessly. Whether you're meeting new people, impressing someone on a date, or simply keeping a casual chat alive, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do when you find yourself stuck for words. And trust me, it's easier than you think. 1. Find common ground. The first key to never running out of things to say is finding common ground. There's an old saying, people like people who are like them. And it's true. We naturally connect with those who share similar interests, experiences, or backgrounds. Sometimes it's obvious. Maybe you both love the same sport or music. But even when the connection isn't immediately apparent, the right questions can help you uncover shared interests. You might find out you both love the same type of food or have a passion for hiking. Whatever the commonality, it allows you to deepen the conversation and make it more engaging. Once you find common ground, the conversation flows naturally. You won't have to worry about what to say next, because that shared interest will guide the discussion. It becomes a conversation that both people enjoy, and soon, you'll no longer be stressing about the next thing to say. 2. Ask intentional follow-up questions. A common mistake in conversations is when we don't ask follow-up questions. We often let an interesting comment slip by without exploring it further, resulting in awkward silences. Imagine this: someone tells you they're going to play golf this weekend. Instead of saying, "Oh, that's cool," ask something like, "Where do you usually play?" Or, "How long have you been playing golf?" These questions show that you're genuinely interested, even if golf isn't your thing. More importantly, they keep the conversation flowing. Follow-up questions create a natural progression in the conversation. They don't just fill the space, they make the other person feel heard and understood, which encourages them to open up more. And when they feel heard, you'll have even more material to work with. 3. Silence is not the enemy. The first lesson I learned is that silence is not the enemy. A lot of us fear those quiet pauses in a conversation, thinking they signify failure or awkwardness. But here's the truth: silence doesn't kill a conversation. In fact, when I became comfortable with it, I realized something powerful. It could be a chance to recharge and think. In the past, I would panic during quiet pauses, feeling the need to fill the space with words, even if they weren't necessary. Over time, I learned to sit with the silence, to breathe through it. And guess what? It wasn't as scary as I had imagined. Silence, rather than being a threat, is part of the natural rhythm of conversation. So, my advice is simple: embrace the quiet when it comes. 4. The power of active listening. The real secret to never running out of things to say? Active listening. When I first learned about active listening, it was like a light bulb went off. I used to nod along, thinking about what I was going to say next. But once I shifted my focus to truly listening, everything changed. Active listening isn't just about hearing someone's words, it's about noticing the small details and asking follow-up questions. For example, if someone says, "I was working on my car," your mind should light up with curiosity. You might think, "What kind of car? Is it yours? How did you hurt yourself working on it? Do you often work on cars on weekends?" These questions flow naturally from the conversation, and they show genuine curiosity. By really listening to the other person, you'll always have something to ask, because their words provide you with clues to new topics. You just need to know how to pick up on them. 5. Cultivate your own interests. Next up, develop your own interests. Here's the thing: if you don't have anything interesting to talk about, it's hard to make a conversation engaging. Sounds obvious, right? But it took me a while to realize this. To have better conversations, you need to have passions. Whether it's sports, psychology, hiking, or even learning about cars, having something you genuinely care about will give you endless conversation material. People are naturally drawn to others who are passionate about something, and it doesn't even matter if you share the same interests. Enthusiasm is contagious. So, make sure you have a few topics that excite you, and you'll always have something to bring to the table. 6. Ask stupid questions. Here's something you might not expect: ask stupid questions. We've all heard that there's no such thing as a stupid question, but many of us hesitate to ask seemingly silly things. I used to worry that I'd look foolish or make the conversation awkward. But what I've learned is that as long as your questions come from a place of genuine curiosity, they're never stupid. For example, when the conversation starts to lull, I might ask something random like, "How tall are you?" Or, "Do you mow the lawn?" You'd be surprised how often these offbeat questions spark new directions for the conversation. People love talking about themselves, and when you ask with real interest, they're happy to share. These seemingly trivial questions often lead to deeper, more interesting discussions. The conversation may take a fun turn, and you'll discover something new and unexpected about the other person. 7. Let go when it's not working. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, a conversation just won't flow. Maybe the other person isn't interested, or perhaps they're not a natural conversationalist. And that's perfectly fine. There's no need to force it. If you're on a date, and things aren't clicking, or if you're at a party, and the conversation falls flat, don't stress. I used to get upset when this happened, but now I understand. It's okay to let go. It's not your fault. Sometimes people just aren't great at keeping a conversation going, and that's part of life. Don't waste your energy trying to fix it, just let the conversation naturally fade and move on. 8. Use humor to lighten the mood. Humor is a powerful tool in any conversation. It can instantly break the ice, ease tension, and make the interaction more enjoyable. One of the main reasons people struggle to keep a conversation going is because they feel too serious or pressured to speak in a certain way. Introducing humor allows you to create a relaxed and fun atmosphere, which makes the other person more comfortable. However, humor should be used in the right context. It's important to gauge the other person's mood and personality. What's funny to one person may not be funny to another. For example, light teasing or self-deprecating humor can be effective when it's clear the person enjoys that type of humor. On the other hand, sarcasm or dark humor might not be suitable for every situation, especially if you're still getting to know someone. A good strategy is to introduce humor gradually. You can start with a small joke or a funny observation about something happening around you. For instance, if you're in a group and the conversation starts to feel a bit stiff, a well-timed joke about something in the environment can relieve the tension. Laughter has a way of opening up people, making them more willing to continue talking. It helps them feel at ease, and when they feel comfortable, the conversation can flow naturally. Remember, the goal isn't to be a comedian, but to use humor as a tool to create a positive, welcoming environment that invites conversation. 9. Observe body language. A conversation isn't just about the words being spoken, it's also about nonverbal communication. Body language plays a crucial role in understanding the other person's feelings and intentions. By paying attention to body language, you can adjust your approach, ensuring the conversation continues in a positive direction. For example, if the person you're speaking with is leaning in, maintaining eye contact, and smiling, they're likely engaged and interested in what you're saying. However, if they are crossing their arms, avoiding eye contact, or looking away, these are signs of discomfort or disinterest. Recognizing these cues can help you tailor your responses and ask questions that may re-engage them. In addition to observing the other person's body language, it's equally important to be mindful of your own. How you present yourself can affect the conversation's flow. Open, relaxed posture and warm facial expressions can make the other person feel more comfortable, making it easier for them to engage in conversation. When you notice signs of disinterest or discomfort, don't force the conversation to continue. Instead, try changing the topic, asking a more engaging question, or giving the person a moment to express themselves. Understanding body language gives you valuable insights into how the conversation is progressing and what adjustments might be needed to keep it flowing. By following these strategies, you'll never run out of things to say again. Whether it's embracing silence, practicing active listening, or finding common ground, the key to smooth, engaging conversations lies in your ability to stay present and curious. So next time you're caught in an awkward silence, remember these tips and watch the conversation come back to life. 10. Share personal stories. Personal stories are a great way to keep a conversation going because they reveal a part of yourself and invite the other person to open up as well. When you share a personal anecdote, it creates a deeper connection, making the conversation more relatable and interesting. For example, if someone mentions they're feeling stressed, you could share a story of a time when you felt overwhelmed and how you dealt with it. This not only provides a sense of empathy but also gives them a chance to share their own experiences. Personal stories create emotional bonds and help the conversation feel more genuine. However, it's important not to monopolize the conversation with your own stories. The goal is to share in a way that invites others to contribute. You don't want to turn the conversation into a monologue. After sharing your story, prompt the other person with a question like, "Have you ever experienced something like that?" Or, "What do you think about that?" This encourages a balanced exchange where both parties feel engaged. Sharing personal stories also gives the conversation a natural flow, as you can weave them into any topic that arises. It adds depth and context, making the conversation more interesting and memorable. 11.ba Storyteller. Storytelling is an art that can transform a mundane conversation into something compelling and captivating. People are naturally drawn to stories because they're engaging, relatable, and memorable. As a storyteller, you have the ability to keep the conversation flowing by framing your thoughts in a narrative format. When you're speaking with someone, think of how you can tell a story to illustrate your point. For example, if someone mentions they're thinking about starting a new project, instead of just offering advice, you could tell the story of when you started a similar project and the lessons you learned along the way. This brings your advice to life and gives the conversation a personal touch. A good storyteller doesn't just share facts, they bring the conversation to life with emotions, details, and imagery. They make the listener feel as if they are part of the story. You can create suspense or humor, depending on the situation, and make even the most ordinary topics more engaging. Effective storytelling also encourages the other person to share their own stories, turning the conversation into a dynamic exchange. People love to tell their own narratives, and when you demonstrate the value of storytelling, they're more likely to open up and contribute. 12. Discuss current events or trends. One of the easiest ways to spark a conversation is to discuss current events or trends. Whether it's the latest news, a trending topic on social media, or something happening in pop culture, talking about what's currently on people's minds gives you an instant connection point. When you bring up a current event, it immediately provides a shared context that both parties can discuss. It's also a great way to discover what the other person cares about, what they're passionate about, or what interests they have. A conversation about a recent movie release or a popular TV show can lead to a deeper discussion about related topics, such as favorite genres, other movies they recommend, or past experiences. However, it's important to be mindful of the topics you choose. Political or controversial subjects may cause discomfort or conflict, especially if you don't know the other person's views. Opt for lighthearted topics like viral internet videos, new technology, or exciting developments in entertainment, sports, or science. These types of discussions are often neutral, engaging, and offer a lot of room for natural conversation. By keeping up with current events, you not only give yourself conversation material but also show that you're engaged with the world around you. 13. Ask for opinions. Asking for someone's opinion is a great way to keep a conversation going. People enjoy feeling heard and valued, and asking for their opinion on a topic encourages them to share more. It also allows you to get to know their thoughts, values, and perspectives. For example, if you're talking about a new restaurant that just opened, you could ask, "What's your opinion on their menu?" "Have you tried it?" Or, "What's your favorite type of food to eat out?" This invites the other person to share their preferences and ideas, which can lead to a deeper conversation about food, dining experiences, or even favorite restaurants. People love to express their views, and by asking for their opinion, you're creating an opportunity for them to contribute meaningfully to the conversation. It also shows that you respect and value their thoughts, which can make them feel more comfortable and open. Asking for opinions also helps to direct the conversation, ensuring it doesn't stagnate. You can continue to ask follow-up questions based on their response, which helps the conversation evolve naturally. 14. Compliment genuinely. Compliments are a powerful tool in conversation, but only when they're genuine. People appreciate sincere praise because it makes them feel recognized and valued. Complimenting someone can lead to a positive exchange, encouraging them to open up and share more. For example, if someone mentions a recent achievement, you can compliment them on their accomplishment. Instead of a simple, "That's great," try something more specific like, "That's impressive. How did you manage to achieve that?" This type of compliment shows that you're genuinely interested in their experience and opens the door to further conversation. It's important to ensure that your compliments feel authentic and are not exaggerated. Over-the-top compliments can sometimes come across as insincere or disingenuous. A thoughtful and well-placed compliment shows respect and encourages the other person to engage in the conversation more openly. Complimenting someone's personality, achievements, or even their style can create a positive environment, making the conversation feel more enjoyable for both of you. 15. Change the environment. Sometimes, the environment plays a significant role in how a conversation unfolds. The setting you're in can impact the tone, mood, and flow of your interaction. If you find that your conversation is starting to feel awkward or stagnant, one of the simplest yet most effective strategies is to change the environment. A change of scenery can be surprisingly refreshing, and it often breathes new life into the conversation. For example, if you're at a cafe or a noisy bar, the background noise might be making it difficult to focus, which can cause you both to feel disconnected or distracted. In such cases, suggesting a different location, like taking a walk or finding a quieter space, can work wonders. Not only does it make the conversation easier to hear, but it also provides a change of pace, helping both people feel more relaxed and present. Moving to a quieter, more comfortable spot can remove distractions, allowing you to engage in a more meaningful way. The physical act of changing your surroundings can also provide a mental reset, enabling you to approach the conversation with renewed energy. A new environment can also encourage a shift in topics. For example, if you've been talking about work or everyday routines and are struggling to find new things to discuss, moving to a new location may open up different avenues for conversation. If you go outside for a walk, the change of scenery might naturally prompt you to talk about the weather, the neighborhood, or any new experiences you've recently had. You might notice something new that you hadn't observed before, like a street performer, an interesting building, or a cafe with a unique design. This simple shift can lead to fresh, spontaneous topics that weren't on your radar before. In some cases, trying a new activity together can be an excellent way to revive the conversation. If you're meeting someone for a casual chat, suggesting a fun activity like going to an art exhibit, trying out a cooking class, or exploring a nearby park can shift the conversation from stagnant to engaging. These activities not only provide a natural focus for the conversation but also give you something tangible to bond over. New experiences create memorable moments that you can talk about for weeks, and they help to build a deeper connection between both people. Even within the same environment, small changes can make a difference. If you're in a cafe and the conversation feels flat, try switching seats. Moving from a noisy corner to a more private area could provide the space you need for a deeper conversation. If you're at home with a friend and the conversation is slowing down, consider stepping outside to the garden or balcony. A shift in atmosphere can change your mindset, giving you a different perspective that often leads to more natural, open discussions. The key takeaway is that changing the environment is not just about physically moving, It's about altering the atmosphere to encourage a more dynamic and engaging conversation. Whether it's moving to a quieter spot, trying a new activity, or simply stepping outside, these changes can help break the monotony, refresh the mood, and spark new ideas for conversation. The goal is to create an atmosphere that feels open, comfortable, and stimulating, which will naturally lead to new directions and topics that keep the conversation flowing. 16. Talk about future plans. Discussing future plans is one of the most effective ways to keep a conversation dynamic and engaging. Talking about what lies ahead in life often brings a sense of excitement and anticipation, which can instantly infuse energy into a conversation. People naturally love to discuss their goals, dreams, and aspirations, as these topics tap into their deeper desires and motivations. Not only does this type of conversation allow for a more meaningful exchange, but it also helps both people understand each other better. When you ask someone about their future plans, you are not just engaging in small talk, you are opening the door to a deeper exploration of their values and priorities. Future-oriented discussions allow you to learn about what excites them, what challenges they are anticipating, and what they're working towards. For example, you could ask, "What's something you're really excited about in the next few months?" Or, "Do you have any big plans for the year ahead?" These kinds of questions invite the other person to talk about their ambitions, be it related to their career, personal life, or a new hobby they've decided to explore. Talking about the future is inherently optimistic and hopeful. It allows both parties to step away from the current moment and imagine the possibilities that lie ahead. Such discussions not only provide valuable insights into someone's personality, but also create a positive, forward-thinking direction in the conversation. Unlike conversations about the present, which can sometimes feel mundane, talking about the future brings a sense of purpose and direction to the exchange, making it feel more exciting and inspiring. In addition, talking about future plans opens the door to a wide variety of subtopics. For instance, a question about someone's goals for the upcoming year might lead to a discussion about career ambitions, new projects they want to undertake, or even how they plan to improve their personal life. You might discover that they are planning a career change or launching their own business, which could lead to an engaging conversation about the challenges and rewards of such an endeavor. Similarly, if they're planning to travel, you could explore their dream destinations and the adventures they hope to experience. Furthermore, discussing future plans can also be a great way to bond over shared aspirations. You may find that you and the other person have similar goals, or that you can offer each other advice and encouragement as you navigate your own paths. For example, if someone talks about a future career shift, you might share your experiences or offer advice on how to pursue such a transition successfully. These shared experiences create a deeper sense of connection, making the conversation not just about exchanging words, but also about supporting each other's dreams. In many cases, talking about future plans can reveal a lot about what someone values most in life. It can expose their core motivations, whether it's a desire for financial security, personal fulfillment, travel, or family life. This deeper insight into their values can guide the conversation in new, meaningful directions, allowing both of you to connect on a more profound level. Overall, discussing future plans is a great way to keep conversations moving forward, injecting them with energy, hope, and excitement. It provides ample opportunities for both people to share their dreams and aspirations, offering deeper insights into what truly matters to them. Whether it's about professional growth, personal development, or future adventures, these conversations are often the most rewarding, as they leave you both feeling inspired and optimistic about the future. 17. Introduce a fun activity. At times, conversations can feel stagnant or forced, and introducing a fun activity can be the perfect way to revive the energy and keep things flowing naturally. Whether it's engaging in a simple game, trying a creative exercise, or exploring a new hobby together, an activity not only shifts the focus but also helps to create a shared experience that fosters connection. For instance, if you're attending a social gathering like a party, suggesting a game or an icebreaker can immediately lighten the mood. Games like charades or trivia are great because they encourage participation from everyone, leading to shared laughs and lighthearted interactions. These types of activities naturally reduce the pressure of having to think of something clever to say, allowing the conversation to flow without forcing it. They create a fun and interactive environment where people can bond over shared experiences rather than focusing on what to say next. If you're meeting a friend for coffee or lunch, consider suggesting a more creative activity like brainstorming a short story together or even making up funny scenarios to share. You could take turns contributing a sentence or two to the story, or you might ask each other to come up with a random fact about yourselves and see who can guess if it's true. These kinds of activities not only make the conversation more engaging but also introduce elements of surprise and creativity. The key is to choose something enjoyable that invites collaboration and interaction. By introducing a fun activity, you remove the pressure of constantly thinking of new topics to discuss. Instead, you focus on enjoying the activity, which provides plenty of natural opportunities to chat and share thoughts. Activities offer a structured yet informal setting where both people can connect and reflect on the experience together. Ultimately, they help foster a more relaxed and enjoyable conversation, where the flow feels effortless, and the pressure to constantly generate topics dissipates. 18. Be a good questioner. Being a good questioner is one of the most effective ways to keep a conversation flowing smoothly. Asking the right questions can not only help you learn more about the other person but also keep the discussion engaging and natural. Open-ended questions are especially powerful, as they encourage the other person to elaborate on their thoughts and experiences, leading to deeper insights and richer conversations. Instead of asking simple yes/no questions like, "Do you like movies?" Try asking questions that invite storytelling, such as, "What's your favorite movie, and why does it stand out to you?" Or, "Have you ever seen a film that completely changed your perspective on something?" These types of questions give the person space to share more about themselves, their preferences, and their experiences. Another important aspect of being a good questioner is to avoid asking questions that feel like an interrogation. Instead, aim for curiosity and flow. For example, when talking to someone about a recent trip, you could ask, "What was the most memorable moment of your trip?" Or, "How did this experience change your perspective on travel?" This kind of question not only keeps the conversation going but also makes the other person feel heard and valued. Being a good questioner is all about creating a conversational rhythm that invites the other person to talk, which keeps the dialogue vibrant and interesting. 19. Practice empathy. Empathy is one of the most important tools to ensure your conversations are meaningful and deep. When you practice empathy, you can truly connect with the other person's emotions and experiences, which can help you better understand where they're coming from and respond thoughtfully. Empathy allows you to engage in a more authentic way, making your conversations more enjoyable for both parties. For example, if someone shares a personal challenge, instead of simply offering advice or changing the subject, you could acknowledge their feelings and ask how they've been coping. A simple statement like, "That must have been really tough. How did you manage through it?" shows you're genuinely interested in their experience and emotions, rather than just filling the silence with your own thoughts. Practicing empathy also helps you steer clear of misunderstandings. When you understand someone's emotional state or perspective, you're less likely to make comments that might come off as insensitive or out of place. This creates an environment where both people feel comfortable sharing openly. The more empathetic you are, the more likely the other person will feel comfortable continuing the conversation. This deepens your connection and encourages an ongoing exchange of ideas and experiences, allowing the conversation to flow naturally. 20. Stay present and engaged. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to keep a conversation going is to stay present and engaged in the moment. Many people tend to drift off or get distracted during conversations, especially if they're thinking about what they're going to say next or what's happening around them. But the key to avoiding awkward silences is to be fully immersed in the conversation you're having right now. When you're engaged, you're not only listening to the other person's words but also picking up on the nuances of their tone, body language, and emotions. This allows you to respond more naturally and thoughtfully. Instead of worrying about your next response, focus on what the other person is saying and how they're saying it. This deep listening will not only help you ask more meaningful follow-up questions but will also demonstrate that you genuinely care about the conversation. To stay present, try to eliminate distractions, put your phone away, avoid looking at your watch, and give your full attention to the person you're talking to. By doing this, you make the other person feel valued, and they will likely respond positively, keeping the conversation flowing without awkward pauses. Being present in the moment makes your interactions more authentic, and as a result, you'll never run out of things to say because the conversation will feel natural and easy.